Hi, I'm Brad Rops. I'm the operations manager here at the Southeast Research Farm. Welcome to our virtual field day. Behind me are some rye plots, and we've seen some renewed interest in rye, both as a cover crop and also as a forage crop. It works well for a double cropping system where it can be planted in the fall, taken off as silage or hay in the spring, and then coming in with soybeans after that. So we've got a number of varieties behind me of winter annuals. So there's rye, there's triticale, and we'll be looking at grain yields on these plots. And then we also came in about 4 weeks ago and we took off half of the plots for forage yield. You can see everything's headed out and flowered at this point, but at that time we were, depending on the variety, the ryes were all at various stages of heading. I think the furthest along was just starting to flower, and some of them were maybe 25% of heads emerged. And then the triticale was still in boot stage. We went through with a forage harvester where we clipped off the plots, we weighed them, we took samples to establish the dry matter content of each variety. And then with that we calculated dry matter yield per acre and silage yield per acre, maybe adjusted to a 35% dry matter basis. A lot of the varieties back here are hybrid rye lines that have come out just relatively recently. And then we've got a few open pollinated lines that are kind of the old standby lines like Ryman and Hazlitt. And last year we ran the similar trials, and the hybrid lines in grain yield will yield probably up to twice as much as the old open pollinated lines. But when we've done the forage trials and we've looked at purely forage yield, the open pollinated lines are going to be similar to the hybrid lines. So if you're going to be harvesting rye for grain, the hybrid lines are a good option and are probably going to give you increased yields. If we're looking at strictly forage, you probably get a cheaper seed cost and just as much tonnage with an open pollinated line.
Among the open pollinated lines, Hazlitt was the one that's kind of done the best for us. And as Brad mentioned, it opens opportunity for double cropping, where this was harvested in late May. We've done a little bit with early June, and we come back and we've got 60 bushel beans after that. So that's an opportunity to go in with rye for silage and come back and get a nice bean crop if you have rain.
Okay, our forage yields here, like I said, the rye here was planted on September 27th, and we did our forage harvest on May 27 and 28, which would allow plenty of window to come back in with soybeans. Our dry matter yields in the top yielding group was about 4 to 4.5 tons of dry matter per acre, and that would equate to a silage yield of around 12 tons per acre in that top group. That top yielding group would have the number of the hybrid lines, and then also the Hazlitt, the open pollinated line. So that's, it's good forage yield, allows you to turn around and reuse that ground and put in some soybeans and get a second crop off of it. Another option would be come back in with perhaps forage sorghum for a livestock operation to produce more feed. So with that, thank you for coming to and watching our virtual field day.